Hi there, Heather at CraftLit, here with a little update because things have been happening in Paris, which are very upsetting. But something really extraordinary happened last night, and since I'm preparing for the Count of Monte Cristo, and that takes place, at least in the beginning, in Marseille, I thought it might not be a bad idea to take this opportunity to share a little bit of information about the Marseillaise, which is the French national anthem, and why it is such an extraordinary thing that people in Britain last night at Wembley Stadium sung that song. It's kind of a big deal, and we here in the States probably don't get it. So I wanted to take a moment to share a video clip with you that will start to explain how national anthems are really important when you have histories that go back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, especially when those histories intertwine with each other and have had conflicts with each other in the past. You will recognize this film. You probably will recognize this scene if you've watched the film before. If you haven't watched the film before, I've added little helpful subtitles, and I've also put translations into English for the two songs that are sung in other languages, namely German first and then French. So we'll watch this first, and then I'll fill you in on a couple of the gaps that I don't put in as subtitles. Here we go.
Are you enough of a businessman to appreciate an offer of 100,000 francs?
I appreciate it, but I don't accept it.
I'll raise it to 200,000.
My friend, you could make it 1,000,000 francs at 3. My answer would still be the same.
There must be some reason why you won't let me have them.
There is. I suggest that you ask your wife.
I beg your pardon?
I said, ask your wife.
My wife?
Yes.
Play La Marseillaise. Play it.
See what I mean? If Laszlo's presence in a cafe can inspire this unfortunate demonstration, what more will his presence in Casablanca bring on? I advise that this place be shut up at once.
But everybody's having such a good time.
Yes, much too good a time. The place is to be closed.
But I've no excuse to close it.
Find one.
Everybody is to leave here immediately. This cafe is closed until further notice. Clear the room at once.
How can you close me up? On what ground?
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
You're winning, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Everybody out at once.
Mademoiselle, after this disturbance, it is not safe for Laszlo to stay in Casablanca.
This morning.
Okay, so the first question is, what was the German song? The German song you saw is called The Watch on the Rhine. Why does that matter? Because that is a song about French aggression And in 1840, so this is post-Napoleon, there were conflicts about borders, not a surprise. And one of them was about the Rhine, this one particular river, and whether it should be the natural border of France or not. And the head of France at the time wanted to annex the bank of the river where German was still being spoken. And so this became kind of the rallying cry of stand firm and don't give in and, keep watch out on the banks of the Rhine. Interesting that the Germans in Casablanca at this time, they are not occupying Casablanca. They are watching and making sure that people who shouldn't leave don't leave, because if they leave and get to safety, then they leave and get to safety. And people like Victor Laszlo, who is a huge leader of the resistance, he, of course, is someone who they are not going to want have get to safety. And therein lies the conflict of the film, or one of the conflicts of the film, sub-conflict of the film. The French national anthem, which is the Marseillaise, which you heard Victor Laszlo call the band to play, and everybody erupts into song. First off, genius musical arrangement there, because you've got the German Watch on the Rhine happening, and when the Marseillaise comes in, it comes in perfectly to blend those two songs together, ultimately drowning out the German song. But still, musically, it's a beautiful piece of fancy footwork. So credit goes to the guy who did the musical arrangement for Casablanca. Way to go. But the Marseillaise, that is a song that was originally titled the Chant de Guerre pour l'Armée du Rhin, which is the war song for the Rhine Army in my lousy French. So, interesting that that's where it got its beginnings. But eventually it was rewritten and it was called the Marseillaise because in 1792, volunteer soldiers from Marseille were the ones singing the song. Now, it became the national anthem of the First Republic in 1795. And if that date doesn't ring a bell, that's French Revolution, First Republic. So eventually Napoleon comes along. Napoleon discards it because it smacks of the French Revolution. But eventually it gets brought on as the French national anthem again. Duh. Now, it is clearly designed to make your enemies terrified. It is a really kind of bloody anthem, but it's also incredibly rousing. And when you put it into context, like Casablanca, where they're not going up against Germans who are having a little borderland dispute. No, you're going up against Nazis who are out to destroy your way of life. Then you kind of look at a song like the Marseillaise and say, right, I can see why you'd be singing that. That makes a lot of sense. Last night in Wembley Stadium, the Brits sang the song. If you listen to Chop Bard, I don't have to tell you how many years England and France have been fighting each other back and forth, one occupying this, that, and the other thing over time. It's been a long, long time. It's a really big deal for the people in Britain to have looked at the screen and read the French and went voices big into that song. It says a lot. And I think even more than all of the unity symbols that we've seen on Facebook and Twitter, all of the people who've draped the French flag over their icons and their avatars, the music speaks, I think, volumes. And just like it did in Casablanca, there's a lot of subtext there. There's a lot of history there. And there's some Casablanca. It's probably the one bright ray of light in this unbelievably difficult week, is that at least I can share a scene from Casablanca with you. It's not a lot, but I'm grasping at straws this last week. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that gives you a little bit of insight into the song thing. But also, Count of Monte Cristo starts in Marseille, so it's probably not a bad idea to have kind of firmly in mind a picture of the strength and character, the unwillingness to be pushed around character of the people in Marseille. Because that is going to play out in the Count of Monte Cristo as well. All right, I'll let you go. I hope you enjoyed getting the opportunity to see this, and I hope it helped getting to see the subtitles. I always find that stuff is very useful. You don't ever see how much I talk with my hands when we do the podcast, but I do. And every once in a while, you will be able to hear them whooshing by the microphone while I'm just talking to a microphone. You'll hear the kind of sound, and that's what's happening. All right. Take care. I'll talk to you soon. Getting ready. And go learn some French. Take care. Bye. Okay, I know it was totally unnecessary for me to let the scene go on, but if you hadn't seen it and didn't know where I'm shocked to see that gambling is going on in Casablanca. If you didn't know where that fell in the movie or where it came from at all, I felt it was my duty to show you that bit, because Claude Rains is so good, as is Humphrey Bogart. And that little nod that spoke 1,000 lines, I'm linking to that webpage. There's a webpage where a guy did an analysis of that particular scene and Humphrey Bogart's nods, all of the times that he doesn't speak in that film, but instead has some kind of physical response to the situation that functions as dialogue. We don't see a lot of that in American movies anymore. We don't see that kind of stillness. Go back and watch the beginning of that scene between Humphrey Bogart, between Rick and Victor Laszlo. They are absolutely immobile when they are standing opposite each other in that first scene. I don't know which way it would be for you. When they are opposite each other, they do not move. Their heads do not move. They are absolutely still and steady, and they are not moving. I'm trying very hard not to move. This is why I wasn't an actress. I can't do it. I kind of have to. But that's why I showed you the whole scene, because it's just so good. Plus, you needed to see Ingrid Bergman speak. Great movie. Great movie. If you haven't watched it before, watch it with your kids. So good. Just be prepared to stop and start a lot, because you're going to wind up having to explain some history. And the internet can help with that too.